So I know I promised I would review this sooner, but here we are. We're finally reviewing it. So this is the C332dn printer from OKI Data, and so here's the review. I've been using it for a while now, so I really have a good handle on how it prints and how it does things. It's actually really, really good. Take a look at the images here. I did 3 different images, and I really tried to get a printer test page that was as creepy as possible while still giving you the color. So if you like clowns, I guess this is okay, but if you're scared of clowns, it's pretty weird. Then we did a picture of a menu. There was a user request for a picture of a menu with food, and the food looks pretty good. And then we also have pictures of kitties, because kitties. I did this both on gloss paper from Hammermill. It's gloss laser printer paper, so it's like glossy as you can see in the pictures. And I also did it on plain paper, which is plain. And overall the images look pretty good either way, and I'm really impressed with the quality, honestly. For a laser printer, it's actually pretty crisp along the edges, which I usually find to be a problem with bigger laser printers. But for a desktop laser printer that's in a relatively good price range, you can't really complain. So moving on, there was another user question about whether or not the cartridges had any chips in them, and the answer is no. And by chips, I don't mean chips like crisps. I mean chips as in like any kind of DRM or any device. No, it literally, as you can see here, it's literally just a physical plastic shell. You can see actually on this cartridge where there might be, either for a different model or maybe even a different printer from a different company entirely, you can actually see where there might have been a model that had the chip, but this particular model doesn't actually have. That being said, they are expensive, so I did find them online, and they're somewhere between 80 and $100 a piece. Although I will say that I've printed a ton of stuff on it just for this sort of review, and it really hasn't been an issue. The cartridges still say they're full, although being that they don't have a computer chip in them, it's hard to say whether they actually know that they're full or whether they're just pretending. Hard to say. So moving on, we basically can talk about just the printer in general, like how has it been, how does it work? Works great. I can't really complain. It's been more than reliable. It starts really quickly by the time, okay, so I have mine set up in the basement, and by the time I hit print and walk downstairs, it's started, and it's almost usually done. I would say that it takes probably about no more than 30 seconds if you leave it in power save mode to get going. It does keep it kind of warm, so, you know, obviously with laser printers, the thermal head has to heat up. So you kind of want to make sure that that's still hot, otherwise it's going to take forever. I imagine that if you powered it off, it would probably take around 5 to 10 minutes to get warm again, because it is a desktop printer, so it's not like a big industrial thing that can just, bam, start printing. So otherwise, the actual interface on the device itself is pretty easy to go through. It's relatively simple. If you've dealt with any of these desktop laser printers before, you'll be pretty familiar with it. It just is a little two-button system. It allows you to scroll through it. Honestly, for me personally, I haven't really used it much other than to page through it and find the IP address so that I could set it up on the network. So with respect to the network interface online, it actually is pretty full-featured, and some of the setups actually work fairly well. That being said, it does look very plain, and you kind of have to know what you're doing in terms of getting into it. I was really confused actually at first, because most of the OKI branded printers, they have a certain password, which is like 6 A's, and the admin username. But of course the OKI C332 actually is 999999 for some reason. It worked out okay, and I was able to get into it and everything. There are about 1 billion things you can do in terms of adjusting this printer, and a lot of it is pretty insane. In terms of like just sheer amounts of options that you have in here. So it would be worth just kind of going through it and figuring it all out. But yeah, basically there's just a lot to look at in here, and it can be a little overwhelming if you've never done this before. If there's anybody who needs some video help on setting this up, I can't promise that it'll get out very fast, as you might have already noticed by my channel, but I can certainly try to get it sent out. So that's about all for this printer. Honestly, it's been really reliable. It works. It's fairly pretty much no drama. It's pretty simple in terms of, like I said, the online interface looks very, very simple and plain. There are, although, thousands of options that you can use, and yeah, it works really, really well, so you can't really complain there. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will answer them as soon as I can.